Welcome to Let's Talk Horses. I'm your host, Jason Vance. Saundra TenBroeck, an extension horse specialist at the University of Florida, joins us today to talk about maximizing the profitability of a broodmare. And Saundra, when it comes to maximizing the profitability of a broodmare, what is the most important thing to having a successful experience with that mare?
Profitability is based on the product that you are trying to sell. So the most profitable broodmare is the mare that produces a marketable offspring. And so knowing your market, having a marketing plan before conception of the foal, and then doing a great job of selecting that broodmare from a performance standpoint as well as a pedigree standpoint, and then matching her up to an appropriate stallion that will in turn produce you an offspring that has the potential to go on and make money for the buyer.
Which really, the profitability is based on the life of the mare, not just a single foal, right?
That's exactly right. Much like in beef cattle, we look at the lifetime production of a female in a group of animals, and ideally you would have a broodmare that in her early years, we don't start breeding horses as young as we would say a heifer, but early in her career we would take her to the show ring or the racetrack, allow her to perform to develop a performance record that would in turn complement her pedigree and give us more tools with which to market her offspring. So assuming she shows or races as a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and maybe joining the broodmare band as a 4 or 5-year-old, and then maintaining that mare in a productive status through even 20 years, takes several years to get those foals proven. And then once you've had a few marketed and going to the racetrack or the show ring, then her subsequent babies will be worth a lot more money. So a good broodmare can stay in production well into her late teens and early 20s if she's taken care of properly.
How do you keep a broodmare productive?
Well, one of the biggest challenges with horses, or a couple of challenges, they have a 340-day gestation, and in order to maintain a foal every year, you have about a 25-day window to get that mare bred back after foaling. And so that presents a challenge. And then the mares do undergo a post-foaling, what we call foal heat estrus, which is a fertile ovulation, and mares can conceive. The big issue is, do they have enough time for uterine involution to occur so that that new pregnancy can be maintained? And as a mare ages, and subsequent pregnancies and gravity take over, sometimes a mare may get pregnant but then not maintain that pregnancy. So foaling every year, by about the 5th or 6th pregnancy, a lot of mares will take a year off. The other complication is our desire as an industry to produce babies very close to the first of the year because of the universal birth date. And when you're showing and racing young horses between 2 and 4 years of age or even younger, a foal born in January, February is, in theory, more competitive than a foal that's born in April or May. So left to their own devices, early foaling mares will kind of stretch out that postpartum interval and foal a little later and a little later each year, to the point where the manager may actually decide to give the mare a year off because she's now foaling in May or June instead of in January, February.
Now, I've heard you say that sometimes the most profitable avenue to take with a broodmare is to not breed her. Would you explain that, please?
Sure. Profitability is about cost versus income. And if a mare does not prove herself to be able to produce a really marketable individual, or if with the fluctuations in markets and the fickle nature of our clientele groups, sometimes a mare that was hot 2 years ago, that particular pedigree may not be very profitable for a season. And so the inputs are going to be the same for maintaining that horse, whether she produces a foal or not. But if you produce a foal that can't be placed in our current economic situation, sometimes not having a foal, you would lose less money. So it becomes an issue of not how much profit can I make, but how do I reduce my losses.
Well, Saundra, thank you so much for talking to us about maximizing the productivity and profitability of a broodmare.
It's my pleasure.